Can I just start off with a squad trick? How's everyone looking? Have you got any fresh issues ahead of the week?
No, nothing at all. All good. Everyone's fit and healthy, and kind of ready to go and preparing for the game ahead at the weekend. So no, all good from that point of view. Nothing changed. Patrick Kelly is this game will come a little bit too soon for him. Hopefully to have him integrated in the squad obviously next week. So other than Pat from the weekend, really everyone's good to go.
Could we see James Rooney getting a debut at the weekend? I'm thinking ahead to next week maybe, and the fact that I don't think he can play in the league.
Potentially, look, I think obviously for Rooney since coming in, he's come into a winning squad. The lads at the back, as you know, it's their shirts to lose. So from that point of view, we'll have to wait and see in terms of how the selection goes at the weekend. But I think from Rooney's point of view, he's just come into a squad at the minute that is doing well and winning games. So at the minute, the lads who are in the team, I've got to keep hold of their shirts and keep performing well because, like I said, in terms of defensively, midfield lads, we've got decent numbers in the positions that they got to keep training well and performing well to stay in the team.
I wanted to ask about your thoughts on Tene Watson and his progress so far. We're going to get a chance to speak to him today. I've seen lots of positive reviews about how he's come into the squad, the fact that he wasn't with you all summer. Have you been pleased how he's kind of hit the ground running since he arrived?
Yeah, he's been fantastic. I've really, really enjoyed working with him. In the dressing room, really good character, fitted in, seamlessly. Being a really, really good lad. Knew what I was getting, reliable, solid. Exactly what I was signing up for in terms of getting him in the building. So, been really pleased with him. Really consistent. One of them ones that, it takes probably 4, 5, 6 games to get plaudits, but straight away that, in-house that he's doing the business consistently, being, like I said, really solid. So it's been a pleasure to work with him. In the short space of time that he's been here, it feels like he's been here a long time because he's just fitted in and got on with his work and put in some really good performances. So been really, really pleased with T.
I mean, from an age perspective as well, I suppose it helps him being a little bit older with the composition of the squad, maybe a bit of experience that he can help some of the other lads around at the back.
Yeah, I just think speaking to him before signing, he's at a really good age now where he wants to be kind of the mature, consistent performer in terms of his performances in a squad wherever he was going to sign. Obviously, luckily enough for us, we've ended up signing him. But he's at an age now of, he's experienced. He wants to be one of the older lads in the dressing room and he wants to put in some consistent performances and play regularly again. Obviously he was involved in a promotion team last year but didn't play as many games as probably he would have liked. But, sometimes that's the case when a team's doing well and playing consistently that it's hard to get in the team. But I knew what I was getting and, we're all very pleased with him.
Seen a brilliant statistic pop up over the last few days, Conor, that only Erling Haaland and Mo Salah have scored more goals across the 92 clubs since the start of 2023 season than Davis Keela Dunn. It's a very impressive statistic and shows where he's at. Is he still getting better, do you feel, from your perspective?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, it just kind of speaks volumes of the amount of goals that he gets, and to have him in our squad. There was obviously talks about transfer windows and all that kind of stuff. So to still have him in our squad and such a valuable player to everyone is really, really pleasing. Of course, he fits into. I think the big thing with Evo, for myself, obviously the 10 games I had at the end of last year was like, well, how can I get the best out of him? And I wanted to play him in that kind of 9 role where he drops in and links. With Didzy coming in the building, I thought, will I play him in the left 10 role? But then obviously, me and him had a chat and, swapping that now, him being the 9 and Didzy being on the left has worked really, really well. So I think from my point of view, it's just been a case of how can I get the best out of Davo and my players in general and find a system that will fit all. So I think that's the case right now, and credit to Davo. He's gone back as the number 9 over the last few games, and just continued his goal scoring streak, which is credit to him, really.
I know the window's only just closed, but I've already seen him being linked with here, there and everywhere. Is that always going to be a concern while he's there and he's scoring goals, that there's going to be other people that are going to be linked with him?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's naturally the case when people up the top end of the pitch, score goals. So, no, look, the more he scores goals, the more it will help us win games of football, and the more he'll get plaudits as well. So it just comes with the territory.
Have there been any discussions about potentially an enhanced contract for him, given how well he's done so far? I know he's on a good deal with the club already. Is that something that's been considered?
I think there's always talks in the background about planning ahead and thinking ahead, and what do we need to do in terms of club stability and squad stability. So no doubt now between in and around this time to December we'll be having chats on planning ahead in terms of players coming in, players coming out, and obviously who do you need to tie down to a little bit longer as well.
Been a good week for facts and figures. 16 points after 7 league games is the best start for the club since 96-97 when the club was promoted to the Premier League. Have you and the players maybe surpassed expectations so far? How do you assess kind of the really good start that you've had?
I probably assess it in terms of still wanting more, if I'm honest. Me being me, I still feel like the game that we lost, we should have got something from. If I'm being really truthful, and it's my job to always push the lads and want more. And look, it's a decent start, of course. There's no hiding from that. But did I feel like the way we set up pre-season and the way we trained and the way we scheduled everything, did I expect us to get off to a positive start? Yes, and it's about kind of keeping that momentum and form and results now. I know obviously there'll be bumps in the road along the way. I'm not being naive to that. There will be difficult periods, of course. I've already had one towards the end of last year. So, look, it's a positive start, but it just shows what the lads can do when they have the right mindset and the right application towards their training and games and what they can go and achieve. And I think they need to realise how good they can be when they put their minds to it. They're a really good group of lads. There's some really talented footballers in there, and I hope more than anything that the start has given them the belief to go, do you know what, we're not too bad when we put our minds to it. So I hope that the lads can realise just how good they can be when they go about their business in the right way.
Trip to Blackpool up next. Have you been surprised a little bit by their start to the season? They're obviously at the wrong end of the table as far as they're concerned.
Yes, I suppose I would have thought they would have been, in a strong position, I suppose, off the back of the squad and the money that they've spent. But we know that they're a big, big threat. It's only, like I just said, it's only early in the season. I fully expect them to get going and moving forward with the players that they have. They've got a talented group of players, talented squad, and sometimes it just takes a little bit of time to gel and get together. So, they'll obviously be disappointed with the start that they've had, but they're fully capable of going on a run where they can win 5, 6, 7 games in a row, and we need to be, fully aware of that and fully have done our homework and organised and prepare for the game in the right way to hopefully not let them start that run at the weekend, of course.
You're looking forward to coming up against Steve Bruce in the opposing dugout, somebody you'll know well from Aston Villa.
Yeah. Brucey obviously signed me for Villa, know him very, very well. Saw him a couple of weeks ago at an occasion that we're both kind of friends with someone. So, really, really good guy. Respect him massively. The career that he had is unbelievable. When you sit on this side of the table and you look at managers like himself and, David Moyes and these guys, and the longevity in the game is incredible. So, nothing but respect for Brucey.
Did you learn bits and pieces? I imagine you're taking lots from every coach that you've had, but in particular, when you've got somebody like that, did you kind of observe stuff? Was he kind of somebody that you looked at and maybe thought, okay, that this might be something that I want to do in a few years' time?
Yeah, I just think it's again like the longevity and the appetite to keep winning and to keep performing and keep getting a team together that wants to bring him success. He's had many successful squads over the years, and that appetite to keep going and that mentality when he had as a player, and now the longevity in coaching and management is just incredible, really. And I think to look at that firsthand as me as a player, and now like I just said, me being on this side of the table and seeing the hard work and the energy that you need to put into it every single day for someone like Steve to do it over a course of many years is just hats off to him, really.
Has he given you any words of wisdom or any warnings about your managerial and coaching career ahead?
No, I don't think it was more words of wisdom. It was more, it's the management in terms of day-to-day work and squads and upstairs and all that kind of stuff. He's well established from that point of view, and he would say the importance of his man management side of things, and I witnessed that firsthand at Villa. So yeah, look, he's a great guy, and looking forward to testing myself against someone so experienced at the weekend.
Brilliant.
Cheers. Thank you.
Hi, Conor. We spoke about this week being a good one for sort of working training and stuff, because there's no midweek game for once. I mean, I know it's only halfway through, but has it gone how you wanted it so far? You pleased with it?
Yeah, pleasing. Yeah, pleasing. We've had a good couple of days, Monday, Tuesday, and obviously we're into Wednesday now. So look, we're halfway through the week. We've been monitoring and assessing Blackpool, obviously, and watching them and analysing and working on the grass and how we can go about our business against them. Every game's different in terms of what the opposition give you. So, yeah, look, we've put some good work on in the training ground, and it'll be another good day's work today.
Anything specific you've been working on that you wanted to tighten up on a little bit, or just get even better at?
No, I just think what Blackpool may give you, or how we see Blackpool and how we feel that we may be able to, bring our strengths out against them. And we've just been working on that on the training ground, and hopefully it will come true on Saturday that, you might be able to see.
And obviously it's the first game of another busy spell. I think it's 5 games again in a fortnight, but you've got a deep squad now in pretty much every area. You feel like ready and equipped for that? Yeah,
of course. A couple of cup games in between the league games now until potentially the international break. Whether the Cardiff game will be on or not, time will tell. But we got 3 league games now. Blackpool, Port Vale, and Wickham, with a couple of cup games in the middle of it in terms of Brighton and Notts County. So we need to be fully ready and prepared as a squad. There'll be minutes shared out, of course, as you would imagine. And it's going to be, a good test now for the squad over the next 5 games. And everyone needs to be fully ready for that.
Obviously, it's been really successful the last few games. There has been a few little individual errors, obviously, the goalkeeper on Saturday and the previous game against Huddersfield. Defensively, do you feel like you're improving? And is it, in a weird way, better if it is sort of individual errors rather than sort of the whole defence being sort of wide open? So.
Yeah, I don't think many teams are like really carving us open. Little lapses of concentration here and there that can happen. So I think defensively the work is getting better. We did loads of work on it again yesterday. And yes, we want to be more solid, but I think we're getting that. It's just, can we tighten up on the little maybe lapses of concentration to really make it a kind of defensive display that we're really striving for, really.
Blackpool, just a word on their style of play and their approach. Are you expecting?
Yeah, no, look, we know obviously their shape, it's quite consistent. They got some really good individuals. They had a win last night. Obviously that will boost morale for them as well. So we were keeping an eye on that and what team they selected to give us a little bit of an inkling on what we expect then for the weekend. So they've got some really good players in terms of, a couple of good strikers up the top of the pitch that they can rotate and bring on some other strikers if needed. Really good wide players, and they just got a talented squad. So it's something that we have to be fully ready for.
Weird quirk of the fixtures. You haven't had an away game for about a month. Obviously, been building well here. You're looking forward to getting back on the road, and Blackpool is usually a place where you have a big away end as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's something that we're looking forward to. We've had a good couple of home performances and home results over the last few weeks, and back on the road now at the weekend that we're really looking forward to getting going on the road as well.
Thanks, Conor.
Cheers.
When do you start as a manager, Conor? When do you start sort of looking at the tables? I know it's early at the minute. When do you think it takes you out? When you sort of look at it and think, It's
a hard one. I think this year, because we feel like in-house in our place anyway, that there's no runaway team. So I don't think I'm expecting anyone to run away with it. In terms of, a Birmingham or an Ipswich from the previous years or however that looked. We're really expecting, a tight table from, position 1 to position 10. There's probably 10 teams that are, even more than that, are fighting for that, top 6 area. And we just want to be, in and around that top 10 consistently trying to perform to see where we finish up between whether it's number 1 or 10, So I do think there's going to be a demand on the teams to stay consistent. Who can stay the most consistent is going to be, generate their position in the table. And however we can stay consistent for, the better our position will be. But I do feel like there's a good nucleus of about 10 to 12 teams that really think we can go and fight for this top 6 position.
Yeah, you're sort of talking about tweaking little things with players tactically. Do you really enjoy that side of it? I mean, you've spoken last week about you didn't get a forward in, but you might have Ferrugia might have a go there, or John Russell, and he's. It seems to be that sort of thing you quite enjoy.
Yeah, no, I love it. Yeah, I think what Reading give us, it will be different to what Blackpool will give us, and what Blackpool will give us, it will be different to what the next team give us. So you've got your ways and your ideas, and you stick to them as best you can. But I'm a big believer on what are the opposition giving us that we can try and hurt them. We might have to adapt our game a little bit to then bring our strengths out the more the game goes on. So Blackpool will have their challenges, and Blackpool will give us problems, no doubt. But it's about how we can kind of go about our business and hurt them with what we feel they will give us.
Your big players you mentioned, Didsey and DKD. They're top players, but they're also flexible as well, aren't they? Top players are.
Yeah, really good players. Yeah, look, very fortunate to have the forward players that we have in the team with the midfielders as well. The numbers that we have in that position. I think we're really, really clear on how we want to look in and out of possession. I'm massive on structure in and out of possession.
Yeah.
I think the message to the players was the last half an hour at the weekend. I didn't really like the last half an hour, and then analysing that we came away from the structure in and out of possession. So the big message this week to the players is we can hurt teams and look like a decent team when we stick to the structure.
Was your big thing that you learned from Brucey maybe how to deal with some frustrated players? I mean, it might have been you at
Yeah, I was frustrated at times. Don't worry about that. I was knocking on his door, and he's reminding me of that over the years when I've gone to see him or when we've come across our cross paths. So look. He's had to deal with some big squads, whether that was Villa or Newcastle and all these type of places. So he's well able to handle the squads and individuals along the way.
And I suppose you learn, you pick up little things, don't you, at man management and how to sort of.
Yeah, and I think that just comes down to accepting that players won't be happy and they'll be knocking on your door, and just giving them that honesty and telling them that look. You have to train properly, and you have to. When the minutes that you do get, you've got to make the most of them to try and force yourself back in the team.
Yeah, I was going to ask you finally. I mean, you spoke about all these games, and you've got a League Cup game, you've got a trophy game. Alex Ferguson used to look ahead, thinking, right, you're going to play in this game. Is there a bit of that?
A little bit. Yeah, obviously, look, you want to get through the weekend and see bodies, and hopefully. Yeah. Injury-wise will be okay and whatnot, but you do think a little bit ahead in terms of that will be a game for him or whatever. So it's important to plan ahead for sure.